Not just decoration. We are
Transformation.
transformation. In the beginning was a garden.
This is Garden Studios. Welcome home. Don't bite your lip on the camera. Alright, let's start. This is Garden Studios. Welcome home.
Welcome. What's up, guys? Here comes another episode of Guard Studios podcast. I'm Paul,
And I'm Mattel.
and today we have a beautiful episode lined up for you. Yeah, tell us about today, babe.
I think what just happened is a perfect example of what we're going to talk about, which is rest. But before we get to that, I want to talk about our word of the day, which is kerfuffle.
Wasn't that the word of the day last weekend?
It was the word of the day last week, but since both of us forgot about it, we are using it this week. And the meaning is a commotion or fuss, especially one caused by conflicting views. So that is now activated.
Activation. Okay.
So, yeah, we're going to be talking about rest. And, yeah,
Well, let's start with what your dictionary term of rest. Why don't we start there?
bring the mic a little closer so we can hear you.
Closer.
All right. So, the dictionary version or dictionary
Definition.
definition, that's the word I was thinking of rest is a noun, and it means an instance or period of relaxing or ceasing to engage in strenuous or stressful activity. So what just happened to us could have stole our rest.
Well, we're Krish, right?
Yeah.
We're very Krish. That means Christian. And so, why don't we talk about the origins of rest, which is the Sabbath?
So Sabbath day. And for the Christian who knows their Bible stories, or even if you're not Christian, you might have heard the story of creation.
Right. In the beginning, God said, let there be light.
And there was light.
Then he said, let there be animals.
And there was animals.
And then he said, let there be animals in the sky.
And then there were birds.
And then he said, let there be water.
And there was water and clouds.
And then he said, let there be separation between day and night.
Which was day and night.
And then he said, this is great and all, but let's make something that looks like us in our image. So they take mud and he put breath of life into it. And then there comes out me. Hi.
Adam.
And so then he goes, wow, this is great, but it is not good. It is not good for man to be alone.
Not good.
So he takes a little rib, and with me, he has to really dig in there and takes it out. And then he turns it into
Eve.
woman. And then he goes, wow, that was a lot of work.
So
One-
on the seventh day,
So on the seventh day, they rested and they marveled at all the things that was created. Now, the funny thing about the seventh day is that we're actually designed so that our Sabbath, which is usually our Sunday, starts with rest. Why don't you talk about that? Why is it that we start it with rest?
God needed to rest. If God needed to rest, we need to rest. And our week starts with Sunday, which is the Sabbath. Well, technically, that's what the Sabbath is. For some people, their Sabbath is a different day. But yes, we're supposed to work from a place of rest instead of working for rest. A lot of times we get it mixed up where we work so hard and then we're working so that we can rest for vacation. But in reality, every week we should be resting, taking one day to just rest and marvel at God's beauty, just like what he did.
And it's actually ironic that we're talking about this because today I am especially tired. And I've been like this the whole week. I just started school. I'm back in school again,
Yeah.
doing Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry,
Third year.
3rd year. And I've been just a physical mess. I'm just so tired, juggling work and school and yeah, just life. So let's say you're my life coach. Let's give you a name. What's a good name? Jemima. Is that a good name? Okay, what name do you want? Chelsea.
Whatever.
Okay, so I'm like, I'm your patient. I walk into your office. Hi, Chelsea. I'm just so tired. You've been doing so much, and I'm just exhausted. What? How can you help me?
I would say, let's call you Jimmy. I would say, Jimmy, have you taken time to do something that you love?
I had a really good Twinkie yesterday, and that really just hit the spot.
That's good. That's good, Jimmy. But is there something that you love to do that gives you life? Something that makes you feel alive?
Makes me alive. I can't say I have. I've just been at it the entire week. Chelsea.
Chelsea?
Chelsea. So sorry, it's my Asian accent. Chelsea.
Well, Jimmy. What gives you life? What makes you feel alive?
Please call me Mr.
Mr.
Smith. Don't call me.
Mr. Smith.
We're not in name to name basis. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're calling me Chelsea, so I'm assuming.
I paid you. What's your question, Chelsea?
It's Chelsea. Mr. Smith. I said, what is something that gives you life?
Okay, Chatham. I really like to fire dance, belly dance, anything that I like to hula hoop. I like to anything that requires us like a circular motion. That's what I enjoy. Yeah.
And I would recommend take a day to do that. Why don't we start right now?
Take a day, but are you saying I can only sustain that movement for like maybe 45 seconds?
It doesn't have to be just one thing.
So are you saying I should just do that once a week for 45 seconds? I just do that movement.
You could start off with that, but I would also recommend doing other things that you love. Could be going out for a walk. It could be just sitting down.
You want to see what that movement looks like?
Yes, that's what I said.
No, I was just joking. Do you really want to see?
Yeah, maybe we should start it now. Like take a little.
You want me to? Which one do you want? You want me to hula hoop, fire dance, or belly dance?
You could choose whichever one you want, but maybe you should do a little bit now.
You gonna put me on the spot like this? You really want me to do this right now?
Yeah, let's see it. I think it will give us all.
So this is the general motion.
And how does that make you feel?
Whew, exhilarating. That was exhilarating.
Don't you feel a little bit more alive now?
A little bit more. Now that was just 3 seconds.
Yeah, imagine if you do it for a little bit longer.
You're right. So you're saying do that once a week for 45 seconds and...
It doesn't have to always be that. You can change it up a bit. But doing things that you love...
I was going clockwise.
You could go counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise.
And then you could go up and down the next time.
Up and down. What does that look like? Up and down was like squats. You want me to do squats?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually exercise does improve rest. scientifically. So, you
Okay,
ain't
well,
wrong there.
thanks, Chelsea. Thanks for
You're
your
welcome.
help. I'll Venmo you.
This is my Venmo.
Well, there you go.
Oh yeah.
So what does that do for Jimmy? What does that do for Jimmy? How does that help him?
Well, it makes him feel like he's actually living life.
Does it
It's
inspiration? What does it
yeah.
do?
So let me continue.
Continue.
So 2 years ago, for 3 years, I was working as a occupational therapist assistant, which I'm doing now, but I would work at Brooklyn, which is 3 hours away. Well, it was 1.5 hour one way, so 3 hours altogether, and I would work crazy hours. So I would probably leave my house like 7 a.m., get home like 8 p.m. every day, and Monday to Friday, that was my life. By Saturday and Sunday, I didn't want to do anything. I was just so exhausted, so tired. But also, I wasn't in the right, like mentally, I was drained because I wasn't doing anything that I loved. Now, looking back, if I actually took times during the weekend to actually live life, like go on hikes or whatever it is that I love to do, I feel like I wouldn't have felt so exhausted or so drained, because I feel like rest is not you not doing anything, but I feel like it's a state of being just enjoying the present. Like you can rest even while working. Like now I'm doing occupational therapy again, and I'm not as tired. Actually, last week, I'm not gonna lie, I was exhausted because I was doing 2 jobs, and all I was doing was working, 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 and then I didn't do anything that I really enjoyed. But I feel like actually today I realized I came to epiphany
Epiphofus.
epiphany
Yeah.
that even with the kerfuffle of life, I can still be in a state of rest.
Pause. Um, Congratulations.
Thank you.
You win coffee
Thank you.
from our favorite coffee people here in town, which is Heritage Coffee.
Thank you.
So after this, we will go to Heritage and
It's
get you.
closed today. Maybe tomorrow. It's Sunday.
We will go to Evergreen after this and get you a nice little vanilla latte.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yes, like as I was saying, that rest is not doing anything, but it's a mentality of just being present and enjoying what you're doing in life. Like for example, this morning I was getting stuff ready around the house, like cleaning, doing my fish tanks, doing my watering the plants, but I felt rested because I was actually enjoying it and not thinking of like what I had to do next, but taking it as a what do I have right now and just focusing on that. So I was doing it from a place of rest. And I think that's what's important. It's not looking too far ahead of everything you got to do and just like always worrying like, oh, tomorrow I have to do this, I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that, I got to take care of the kids, I got to do this, blah 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 blah.
You sounded like you were Busta Rhymes there for a second. That was really good.
I'm from Jersey, so I could talk very fast. I just
Impressive.
learned to kind of speak slower here in the West Coast. But yes, but taking it at a time, like, okay, right now this is like what helps me a lot is I make a list. Like I made a list yesterday of the things I wanted to accomplish today. I like checklists. So I listed them down on the board, and then I was like, okay, let me get to this first. Check this next. Check, check. Until I felt accomplished, and I didn't feel so anxious that I had so much to do. But I felt pretty good.
Pretty good. Now, let's. So right now, what you're talking about is more, not theological, but more of the idea of rest as a mental state. Let's go back into more a practical state of rest. I think that everyone should have one day of the week where they do absolutely nothing. Now I
Or
understand.
do something they enjoy.
Exactly. So have one day where you just do kind of a refill of your soul, of your body. The Artist Way book, which we talk about here on this podcast plenty of times, they have this thing where they take once a week, they do an artist date, and it could be an hour or two, where you just go out and fill up your soul. Now it could be anything. It's different for every person. For me, it's been going to the thrift store, going to the bookstore. I've actually been terrible with it.
Yeah, me
I haven't
too.
done it in 3 weeks. Probably
That's
is the
probably
reason
why you're
why
so tired now.
I'm so tired. It's ironic that we're talking about rest because I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I could probably use an artist date or two. And I think we all need one day where we just fill our souls. What does child Paul want to do? Maybe watch a movie. Maybe go out and eat. Maybe cook.
Maybe
paint.
catch some bugs.
Catch some bugs. Go dig something. Digging is fun. But whatever it is, we all need one day out of the week where we just do nothing. Now I understand there's some of us out there that have 27 children, and it's tough. And I think
you can
there's seasons.
incorporate. You can incorporate your children in these.
Right, and there's also something called sleeping juice. Is that a thing? Right? Is that a thing? Okay, it's not a
It is.
thing,
Or
but
you could get a babysitter.
a bit that's even better. That sounds more safe. But you really have to be intentional and strategize these things. I mean, I don't think that anyone has 27 children. Let's say 5 children, right? But you really have to be intentional about how to create these rhythms that's sustainable for you, because if you don't, you'll end up burning out.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to take care of your children. You'll just be grumpy, and then your children grow up and they'll know their mom as the grumpy one. Or in reality, she just wasn't feeling her soul, and she just wasn't getting her Sabbath, and she just wasn't getting her rest. And if you get your Sabbath and your rest, your children will talk about you like you're the best mom.
Like we said, you should work from a place of rest and not work for rest.
Talk about that real quick. From rest and not for rest. What do you mean by that?
It's like allowing God to fill you up and serve you. Like allowing him to just be yourself. Like just enjoying life. For example, a good example is like
So let's talk about Jimmy. So Jimmy's was fire dancing, belly dancing. How does that help Jimmy?
so fire dancing, but like working from rest would be taking that one day, do it fire dancing as much as he wants that day,
As much fire as he wants.
as much fire as he wants, because that's what fills him up. That's what gives him joy, and just let you be, like, without worrying about bills you got to pay, without worrying about the chores you got to do, without worrying about all the things you have to do, but just kind of not being selfish, but just thinking, what is it that will make my soul happy? That you can do, that is actually attainable, and it could be simple as fire dancing. So working from, okay, now that I'm actually happy, I'm able to work better, or like throughout the week you have like better rhythms.
Better rhythm.
I know.
Better rhythm.
But you get better rhythms because you can't give away something that you don't have.
Yeah.
So if you're so tired, so exhausted, how do you think you'll be the rest of the week when you have to keep giving more and more? You're not giving from overflow, but you're giving from lack. So
it's almost like you're working for your rest.
yes.
Instead of working for your rest, live from a place of rest. Like, I'm a filled up person. I'm a complete person. Because I'm a filled person and I'm a sustained person holistically, I can now live through life as a filled person instead of being that person that just claws their way to the Sabbath. Be the person that is filled by the Sabbath. That's why we get to do this. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. But to do that, you actually do need to take time for yourself.
Right.
So you can't just always keep give and not really taking care of what you need,
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense. Now, I was exhibiting what brought Jimmy life earlier, the circular motions. I only did about three rotations.
Yeah.
From 1 to 10, how much freedom did that bring in this room? Honestly, did I release something?
Honestly, 3 seconds it gave me like a 7 out of 10
That's pretty
freedom.
good.
So imagine if you did it for longer.
So
Probably would have
imagine
been
around the 20th second
probably
mark,
been a 10
it
out of
gets
10.
the RPMs just starts getting really fast,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a whole it's amazing. So imagine just that, just like rotating. I know it's hard to imagine, but it gets
Being
really
good.
it gets really good. Yeah.
But also, I feel like people think rest is sleeping. But you ever sleep so much and you feel tired when you wake up? Because you actually, even if you're sleeping, it's not, sometimes you're not actually resting.
So sleep and rest is separate.
Yeah. You can sleep and rest. You could be rested while sleeping, but not always. It's not always like that.
Well, coming from a person, so guys, I worked at a medical laboratory and I also worked at church. I had two jobs when we lived in New Jersey, and my schedule was I would wake up at 4 in the morning, go to my lab job, and then go around noon, go to from my lab job to my church job, and then around the afternoon go back to my lab job, and then be home around 9 o'clock 9:30, and then go to sleep, and then wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and then repeat it. It was not sustainable, and I did that for since I was 19 up to until I was 25, 26. And when I first started work doing that cycle, that was 8 years doing that, or 7 years. Um, I I was I used as a 19-year-old I was tight. I had curves. I was fit, and 7 years of that turned turned me into the creature that I am now.
You're not a creature.
They, I meant that in a good way, like a monster, like a mythological creature. No, but like honestly, it took a toll on my body.
Yeah.
Not only did I become more unhealthy, but my memory is like terrible. I'm bad with names, and I wish I could say I'm good with faces, but I'm terrible with faces. I've had multiple times where I would introduce myself to the same person 3 times, and they would look at me like I'm crazy because I don't remember meeting them. So it really took a toll on my mental state, my physical state. So sleep, I think, is underrated,
Yeah.
and that it's such a need. And it's funny how we kind of praise. We almost give people praise. The people that don't sleep enough. You know what I mean? It's almost like if someone says, "Yeah, I've been working. I worked 70 hours this week. I got like 3 hours sleep." I mean, people are like, "Oh, you're crazy." You know, something like that, but in a good connotation, like, "Oh, you're crazy. You're a wild man. You're so But it's terrible because they're actually killing their bodies.
Yeah, slowly. Slowly. You're disappearing.
It's kind of the opposite for me.
No, your mental.
I
your
kind of like reappeared in places I didn't know I could appear in.
I meant like who you are.
Oh, that's right.
Like you
Right.
change. Your
And-
character changes.
In that 7 years, I had that schedule. I didn't do anything creative.
Yeah, and that's not who you are.
It's not who I am. It's not who I am.
You're almost on like survival mode for
7 years.
Yeah, for 7 years you're always on survival mode. So you're not living from a place of rest, but you're trying to fight for rest.
Yeah. So why don't you summarize it for our viewers, babe? The key points and the importance of rest.
1. I'm summarizing in my head right now. God needed rest, so do we.
So do we.
And we should live from 2 is we should live from a place of rest so that we can give instead of fighting for rest. And side note, take your vacations. Take the vacations. Don't wait until when you retire because then you'll be too old. Take it when you can. That's one thing like my coworker told me. Like when I first started, she was like, take your vacations.
What would you say to our viewers that are already like old?
You can still
What if
enjoy. Take your vacations while you can. Cause
what if they're like
true story,
97?
they can still go on vacation, go to the beach and just chill.
Okay.
No, but true story, like there was a couple at my old job who worked so hard their whole life because they wanted to, when they retire, to go on vacation, but right when they retire they got sick, so they never were able to actually enjoy all they worked for. So enjoy it now while you can.
That's so inspiring, babe. That's
No, I'm just like
no,
being
that's
honest.
great.
It's
No,
just
me
the
too.
truth.
No,
It's just
that's
the
it
truth.
happens.
Like,
So they didn't get to go on vacations anymore?
no,
Did
because
they
they
die?
didn't die, but they got sick and they weren't able to actually go on vacation because they were just at the nursing home. Sad, right? But it's life. That's why. Also, maybe because they didn't rest. They got sick because they didn't take care of their body. Take care of your bodies. Exercise. Eat healthy. That's part of rest. 3, it would be. Now I lost track.
Take one day out of the week.
Yes.
Just super practical. Grab a day out of the one day out of the week.
Take
and
yourself on an artist date.
and do what's fun. Take yourself
Yeah.
on an artist date. If what's fun for you is going on a drive, go for a drive, and just fill your soul. Just one day out of the week, it'll be good for you. Also, you'll be more productive if you don't rest and you just continue to do these all nighters or whatever throughout the week. It'll actually kill your productivity. If you just take time to rest, you'll actually be much more productive in what you're doing rather than not resting and just going on as like a miserable zombie. Just rest, get your mind straight, and you'll actually make more production that
Yes.
way.
And last thing, get inspired by God's creation. Scientifically, did you know that plants actually produces chemicals in your brain to help with productivity? Because the color green, it like kind of is like growth, so it actually makes you more productive. Look it up. I read it on an article before. So actually, his creation actually inspires us to be more creative. So if you take a day, just sit outside, watch the birds, watch the trees, and just slow down the time, it will inspire you.
Wow.
And now we'll be off to our viewer question.
Oh, okay.
So our viewer question is from Emilio H. from San Diego. He said, I'm assuming it's a guy, I don't feel like I'm a creative person, but I want to be. Are there any tools to help me step into my creativity?
What's his name?
Emilio
Emilio. What's his last name?
H.
Emilio H. I have 3 things for Emilio. Emilio H. My first thing would be think back to when you were 8 years old and think back to what 8-year-old Emilio liked to do. Because, like you said, you don't feel like you're a creative person. That's impossible. We're all creative people because we're made in the Creator's image, God's image. That makes you a creative. Now, you just have to rediscover your creativity. So, a lot of times, what's helpful is if you think back to your child version of yourself and think back to what they enjoyed, because being a child is something that we actually had to unlearn. We all are children in disguise. As time goes on, we start putting on disguise and we lose our childlikeness. So think back to what 8-year-old Emilio liked to do, whether it be painting, whether it be just singing, might be, I don't know, playing with chalk on the sidewalk, whatever it may be. Rediscover what that is and bring it back to your life today. That would be a very easy and practical step. My second step would be get rid of fear, or just block out fear. You can't get rid of fear. There'll always be a whisper saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? That you'll never be good enough. You're an imposter. There's always going to be that voice of fear, but you have to learn to block it out. And a lot of times I went through a season where I would actually run towards that voice. And what I mean by that is if something scares me, I actually would run towards it. And that 1 year span that I actually did that in was some of the greatest growth that I've gone through in my life. So I would say block out that voice of fear, because that's actually a confirmation of what you're called for. So if you feel fear in, let's say, I don't know, in writing music, okay, try to actually run towards that voice that's telling you not to do that, because that means there's a voice that's keeping you from your destiny. So block out fear, and if you hear any voices that's scaring you, actually take that as confirmation for the opposite and actually use that as an encouragement. And my third would be surround yourself with other creatives. We all need our community. There's things that people that are around us see inside of our lives that we don't see ourselves. We have blind spots and whatnot. They can actually call things out in your life that you don't see yourselves. There's been times in our lives where people would be like, "Oh, Paul, you're an artist," or "Mattel, you're this," or "Paul, you're so sexy," and I would not see it, and then I'd be like, "Oh shoot, I am sexy." Sometimes we need people to call out the gold that's inside of us, to dig out the gold. And so one is to think flashback to what 8-year-old Emilio likes to do and bring that in your life. Two is block out fear. Three, surround yourself with healthy community.
Yeah, I completely agree to everything he's saying. And if there's anything for me to add on, I feel like just knowing that you're creative, and don't limit creativity to just fine arts or visual arts. Creativity could be being good at programming. It could be good at making money. It could be
Solutions.
solutions. Creativity is just tapping into your genius. So, you are creative. Don't get that wrong. But also, like I said before, there's something about just stepping back and enjoying nature that will inspire you. God's creation will inspire you. It's 100%. It will inspire you. So if you just take some time to just like sit and just like I said, stare at the sky, stare at the trees or the birds.
Don't stare at the sun.
Not the sun.
Not the sun.
It'll burn your eyes.
Right.
But yeah, just enjoying his creation, it will inspire you, and just do it. Know it's low stakes.
Hey, just go crazy.
And just take a pencil, whatever it is, just go for it. Like kids don't think about what they're going to do when you give them a crayon. They just draw. So be like a child again. And that is my advice. So now we're going to be moving on to our last segment, which is a new segment, which will be our challenge.
You made this up like
earlier today. Ago? Yeah. It's called Speed Origami Challenge, where we're going to watch how to make just a simple origami. And I did time lapse, so it went by super fast. So we gotta try to remember how to do it, and whoever does it first wins.
So it's a race.
Yes, a race.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's watch the video again.
Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Okay, ready? There it is. Oh.
Very
Okay,
simple.
easy.
Put it down.
All right. Wait, let me count. Ready? Set.
Hey, you're already starting. You're
Go.
cheating.
Hold on, my square isn't a perfect square.
Well, it's together, so.
Done.
What is that?
That's exactly what the video had.
No, it's supposed to be like this.
I did it first.
I did it first.
Well, fine. Okay, I'll let you win because I'm a gentleman. So you won the word of the day and you won this. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's just your day today.
It is my day.
So yeah. So you win.
I'm very competitive.
You are competitive. Well, listen, guys. Today is Sunday. That's why we're talking about rest. But you'll probably hear this on a Wednesday. Just make sure you find. It doesn't have to be a Sunday. Find one day out of the week where you just fill your soul, get some rest, do something you enjoy. And with that being said,
We love you guys, and like and subscribe. And
yeah, dislike it if you want. Honestly, I couldn't care less. But subscribe because we could use some help with that. And comment below. Write down what you do for rest. And yeah, so watch some of our videos.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one was a little bit more calm because we're talking about rest, but we do have some high energy ones.
High energy.
In the previous ones,
Yeah, more
and
percolations.
there are some good topics on there.
Great
so
topics. They're all great. This is just more chill. But with that being said,
we love you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
toodles noodles.